Hey everybody, it's Taki117 back with StarQuest, and I have a node set up that will actually give me an encounter that I need here in about 35 seconds. It will take me 887 meters a second of burn time. But that's not a big deal, because I do have this transfer stage that has 590, so it's basically going to take all of my fuel to get there, or at least all of my intended transfer fuel to get there. I do have fuel in this spacecraft that I can use in the event of an emergency. And stage. Ooh, lots of camera shake there. Very violent. Yeah, very violent separation. Here we are. Still pushing our apparatus out. I will be able to adjust my lunar periapsis, but it does not look like I will have to very much. Beautiful, beautiful orbit. Okay. 74 meters per second in my transfer stage. Beautiful Earth there. We are going to flip around very quickly. Flip our satellite around so we can get that beautiful, beautiful sun. Nope, too far, too far. Excellent. Getting all of the sunlight as we move away from our beautiful blue marble. Now we're fully charged. And on our way to the moon. Now, I just need science data from space around the moon. I have to pass within 200 kilometers, or 600 kilometers rather. So I don't need to fire my engines at all for the remainder of this journey. I might need to do a little firing just to correct once we're inside the sphere of influence. 1 minute to that encounter. Little satellite. There's the Earth. There is the moon. Oh, that is beautiful. That's a screenshot. I will submit that to the Kerbal Space Program Facebook group. Look for it as a screening of the week. That's a thing they do. Shameless plug. Okay, we should be just about there, another 13 or so seconds. Like I said, not firing my engines at all. I do want to check my solar panel output. Oh, that's being blocked. That is also being blocked by the rechargeable battery. Oh well. I also do not have a connection, however, we are inside the moon's sphere of influence, 278 kilometers. That is beautiful, and it's going to let gravity do all the work for us. Literally, gravity is doing everything. Let's hope that spacecraft isn't dead. There we go. Transmit all our data, which fulfills the transmit science from space around the moon. Less than 600 kilometers, but do not orbit. Do want to check. I'm still transmitting. There we go. There's Jupiter over there. Okay, so we've got connection. We've transmitted all our science data. I'm now going to pass over the top and behind the backside of the moon. They're still falling. It's a great thing about gravity. I haven't touched the controls once since I put the satellite in the proper positioning, because quite frankly the sun doesn't move a whole lot. Everything orbits around the sun, which is awesome for me. That means I can just kind of set my satellite up so that the solar panels are pointing right where I need them to, and boom. I will never have to touch them, and now I have a sort of deep space relay. So if we look at my orbit, it's really high out there, which is nice. But I have no connection. So, I guess this one's just going to be stranded out there for a while. But it's there. It exists. And that completes the Luna 3 contract. So now I need to actually land on the moon and conduct a low-resolution survey, which means I need a satellite in a polar orbit, which will help with the landing eventually. So let's go back and see what we can come up with. So here we are on the launch pad. Unfortunately, you guys are being treated to a nighttime launch, but I think now would probably be the best time to launch a spacecraft. This is a very unique rocket based off of the proposed N1 lunar rocket design by the Russians. This uses the top 2 stages, but it has more than enough thrust and fuel to get my mapping satellite to the moon. There it goes. The Russians were very big proponents of more is better. Oh, this is beautiful. Looks like I have timed this launch almost perfectly by complete accident. As you can see, my pink target marker there indicating the moon that I've set as my target. Whoo, this sucker is really moving. But yes, the Russians were very big proponents of more engines, whereas the Americans were proponents of more power, as evidenced by the F-1. I mean, if you've seen the thing, it's impressive. I am nearly 20 kilometers in altitude. Holy Lord. Whereas this has many more smaller engines. Okay, we are going to sit there for a bit. This thing is really cooking. Take this thing up as high as it'll go. Fairing is starting to overheat. And we're going to kill our engine. And we've lost our fairing, which means we've lost the thing holding my payload to the rocket. Not a big deal. I still have... Who is this? Okay. 600 meters a second. I need to go ahead and activate my engines. Fortunately, it's not going to take me a whole hour. It's going to take me a little over a minute to perform this maneuver. Like 4 tiny little engines there. So yeah, apparently that rocket was too powerful. Well, that happened. Nope, I do not need to deactivate this. Okay. Hopefully I have enough fuel to get this to the moon into a polar orbit, and I can adjust that on the fly. I'll go ahead and activate my scanner. So, good to know. I need to reduce the thrust on that rocket. Okay, 780 meters a second. But I don't need to do any crazy plane changes. Okay. Turns out we are not in the perfect orbit like I thought we were, which is rather unfortunate. I should have turned more north. So I'm going to start playing around with maneuver nodes here. Ooh, I got one. At least I thought I had one. So it's very hard to get this right. I did get an encounter. Fortunately, that's more fuel than I have. Might be able to do something though. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. It's the globe. And you can see all of my satellites here. Or at least this satellite and its predicted orbits. Now I do have this map 100% complete. You can see it's mapped out. It's quite nice actually. This is going to be problematic. But I'm going to execute the maneuver anyway. Hope for the best. Now, if I get an encounter, it is very unlikely that I'm going to be able to enter an orbit. But you never know. And again, if nothing else, I now have another relay. Nope, I'm gonna be short. Looks like about 100 meters a second. Yep. And that is definitely not enough to get even close to the moon. But the good news is I do have a viable rocket design. So I might have to redesign the fairing. Not a big deal. But yeah. Let's see if we can't pick up some more contracts. And here we are at the launch pad with a very old rocket. Now of course I have updated it a bit, but this is taking the place of Discoverer 13. Now Discoverer 13 was the first manned object to return successfully from orbit. Let's see how ours does. Now I know this rocket will get into orbit. I don't know if it will return from orbit, and I'm a little worried about this materials bay here. It's got a light. I'm gonna turn on the light. The main reason is because I've never actually successfully recovered one of these. Time to start our gravity turn. There we go. I can't wait to get the advanced flight control node in my tech tree, so that I can just sit here and talk rocket history and not have to worry about actually flying the darn things. I'm doing this, you know, mostly automatically. All I'm really doing is clicking the button over here. And MechJeb takes care of the rest. But I still have to make sure I hit all my points. I actually have to initiate the gravity turn. But it'll be nice once I get... Ooh, I'm starting to get a little roll here. Roll is not inherently bad. It's this oscillation that we're getting. And of course, my rocket is trying to correct it. You really can't correct it. Why are we trying to correct it? Oh well, I'm still going up I'm just gonna ditch that stage real quick. And we are going to circularize our next apoapsis. Ooh, loaded. Fortunately, I have plenty of fuel, so it's not a big deal. Do I have solar panels on this? I don't remember. It looks like I do, actually. But, again, not worried. This is not going to be up very long at all. Make one more staging adjustment here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to warp. And what's amusing is this is a 1.2, no, it's a 0.625 engine on a 1.25 fuel tank. So here we are, going into orbit very slowly. While I'm up here, I need science data. No, I just need to reach orbit. But I am going to do science. Hopefully this survives. If it doesn't, I'm going to be upset. I'm also going to be upset if this thing sinks. Okay. Plenty of electric charge. Alright, we are going to point orbit retrograde. But before we get too far, I can't warp more than 100 times in less than 188 meters. Wonderful. Wonderful. Alright, we are connected. Now going to continue pointing retrograde. Save ourselves a little bit of trouble here. Six, 5, 40, 30. And we'll go down to 25. There you go. Alright. We're done with our engines. Not quite done with SAS, but almost. You know, I get that atmospheric interface here. And then it will straighten itself out. Just like that. And now we turn it off. And you can see my parachute is already set up to deploy. And we're just going to fall. Our falling, let's hope. Aerodynamics, yes, aerodynamics is going to take control. See our heat shield already starting to heat up as we fall through the atmosphere, compressing that air in front of us. I do have data. I'm going to be very upset if it does not get saved. Falling through the atmosphere. There's Saturn and Mars over there. I'm not sure what's heating up. Producing. Our heat shield is ablating. I'm going to point more surface velocity negative to keep that heat shield in place. It is ablating away quite nicely, actually. It's that very long tail. Looks like one of my decouplers is starting to overheat. Nothing too serious yet. We're slowing down considerably. Sounds like my engine's exploding. We are slowing down. This is good. I'm a little worried that it may not be fast enough. Temperature gauge is slowly increasing. I am not time warping, by the way. This is happening in real time. Like I said, a little worried about that temperature gauge. We are falling. Traveling Mach 6. We are not slowing down fast enough. Starting to burn. Aerodynamics is overriding my ability. Ooh, something's going to explode. This is not good. I can see a very hot temperature gauge, and it looks like it might be my battery. Okay, looks like we're through the worst of it. Still at 18 kilometers. Okay, we are Mach 3.5 now. That was harrowing. I'm going to turn that off. See what's going on. I find it odd that my pod is flying almost level. And will not correct itself. That's interesting. We are still traveling Mach 1, but we do still have quite a ways to go before a parachute deploys. But we can deploy our parachute now if we so choose. We're not going to, though I see no point in it. Just let it deploy when it deploys. That was harrowing. I am not going to lie. I don't know about you guys, but my heart was certainly racing. This thing started burning, and I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. A little over Mach 0.7. There we go, our parachutes, and those are going to slow us down very quickly. Oh, but not fast enough. fast enough. This looks like it's falling at us. No, this is stuck. It is stuck. So, anyway, that's it for this episode. I'm Taki117, and remember, it's only rocket science.